Just a second. We have started recording the webinar, so we will share this the record with you afterwards, and so you will have a chance to rewatch it, or maybe to share with someone of your friends. So let's move forward. As I said, I work at ALTEX as a brand manager, and organizing online and offline events is part of my responsibilities. So today I'm hosting and moderating this webinar, and I'm really honored to do so. From my side, I would like to greet everyone and to say thank you to all of you that you have managed to allocate this hour and a half for our webinar. I hope that you will enjoy it and have a great time. I will give you several words about ALTEX because some of you may already heard about our company, and some of you may only this is the first time when you get to know us. So ALTEX is a travel and hospitality technology consulting company. We have started our business 15 years ago, and in the beginning we were a family type company, but then as years went by, we grew, and we managed to open more offices, and we managed to expand our presence. So at the present moment, we have research and development centers in Georgia, in Tbilisi. We have several of them in Ukraine, and we have a sales representative office in the US. As for our people, our staff work worldwide. We provide our people with either remote format of work, or you can come to our offices and work from there, or we even encourage people to combine. We are very flexible, and we just want to make sure that our people are comfortable with the working conditions. As I've said, travel and hospitality are their main domains, and the half of our project portfolio is about travel projects so this is very briefly, and what I wanted to say that ALTEX has always promoted internal and external initiatives which contribute to educational development and to the community growth. So today's webinar is organized with the support of ALTEX. I hope that this webinar will be a combination of useful information and pleasant communication, because we believe that even online webinar can be a dialogue. So yeah, as I said in the beginning, please unmute yourself and you can address questions in voice. If you're a little bit shame, just put it down, put your question down in our chat. Several words about the webinar. This is the very first webinar in 2023. We have planned lots of things for the upcoming year, and I hope that we will set up a tradition of getting together for such online webinars in the future. As for the organizational aspects, this is going to be a webinar for 1 hour and 30 minutes. The actual talk by our speaker will take 1 hour. Then in the end, we will have questions and answers sections as usual. But if you happen to have a question in the middle of the talk, and just put it down in the chat, and we will get back to them right in the end. And I guess I'm slowly approaching to the beginning of the webinar, and it's high time to represent our speaker. So guys, please meet Ivan Mosiev. He's the one with the switched on camera besides me. Ivan works as a solution architect at ALTEX, and he has been with the company for 10 years already, right? Or maybe even more.
A bit more.
A
Yeah,
bit more.
from 2011.
Yeah. Well, but Ivan's IT experience is more than 20 years, which is overwhelming, and he's sure has lots of stuff to share with you. And from my side, I would like to add that besides being a great specialist, Ivan is an extremely intelligent and easygoing person. And every time when I have a chance to cooperate with Ivan on different tasks, no matter if it's a working task or if it's some kind of personal things, Ivan is always ready to help, and he's always open. So, guys, I give the microphone to Ivan. And let's enjoy the talk. So, Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Natalia. Yeah, so let's start yeah, right now. Let me share
You
my
have, yeah,
screen and
you're supposed to have the right
presentation.
to share the screen.
Okay. Okay. I will share entire desktop because I will switch from presentation to AWS console to VS Code. So yeah. Can you see presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, a couple of words, some random facts about me. So yeah, have more than 10 years experience in IT. So I remember the IT before clouds era, and I have no nostalgia about it, really. As Natalia said, I'm solution architect in ALTEX. Now I'm focused in travel domain. That's airlines, that's hotels, vacation rentals. That's maybe during last 5 years, all my projects related to that. And I'm interested in infrastructure, the code, serverless approaches, and so on. Also, I'm big aviation fan, and my usual during like takeoff and landing, I like to listen what's going on with plane and trying to understand which sound means what. So now we have gear off, or now there are moving flaps and so on. So not so long ago to take some really good time flying the big Boeing 737 simulator. Was a really interesting experience. If you like aviation, I think I can recommend if you have such opportunity. Um, okay, so let's talk a bit about the infrastructure as a code. What is the approach, and then we will switch to Plumi, and I will show some demo of some small project that I created and just for the educational purposes. Uh, so what is infrastructure as a code is the approach when we trying to define our infrastructure as a text, as a code, instead of going and set up everything manually in, let's say, AWS console or Azure. Yeah, so and why we did it, yeah, what is the benefits of that approach, is that when everything defined as a code, we have collaboration and version control, so multiple team members can do their changes, and these changes will be tracked. We can see when something was added, what what changes we're going to introduce, and all benefits of version control. Of course, we have automation of infrastructure provisioning. So, for example, we need to run a new EC2 instance in AWS or some virtual machine in other cloud. And we don't need to go and click everything by mouse or typing some commands, CLI commands in console. Of course, that improves efficiency and consistency on deployment, because when your infrastructure is defined as a code, you can be sure that every time you run this code, you will have predictable result. Um, and yeah, because we have version control, we have traceability. We can see what's going on, what changed, what the progress uh, of our DevOps practices. Yeah, what we introduce it in our infrastructure, in our cloud. What approach we have, what we have for infrastructure as a code. There can be different approaches. Yeah, the pictures is not random. Yeah, that's like Netherlands proverbs, and there are a lot of people, they're doing some stuff different ways. So there's and like we have different approaches in infrastructure as a code. Infrastructure as code. Uh, so there can be imperative, declarative, and hybrid, the mix of the two. So what is imperative? The imperative is when you instructing by the code, you're instructing your um, infrastructure what to do and what steps to perform to achieve desired states. So for example, you write the code that create EC2 instance, create ECS cluster, publish the Docker image, and so on. And these tools usually has no state storage. They use actual system state to achieve idempotence. What does it mean? If I have the script that instruct that says we need to create EC2 instance, the new virtual machine, and I will run it like 3 times, I will not have three virtual machines. I will have just one. It will set up according to the instructions, and according to the instructions, it will be configured. And the system that run that code will check, do we have such instance already? If we have it, that's okay. It will not repeat the same actions. And the examples, mostly these tools a bit like not out of date, they appeared historically earlier, and now we have them. And usually we think about the tools like more configuration tools when we already have infrastructure, or we already have um, uh, we already have some machines elsewhere in the cloud, or in some data center. Yeah, usually we can do this configuration through these tools, but they already have modules for infrastructure creation. Yeah, when we for provisioning infrastructure, not only for configuring. So that's Ansible, Salt, Puppet, Chief. There are a lot of them. And second way, yeah, and again, the pictures is not random. So you see that looks like one woman tell other woman what to do, at least, and some people doing something according to instruction. The next way it is declarative. I believe the one man tells to another how to build something from these bricks, and so that how declarative way works. You declaring the desired state. You saying that I want to have a system with I don't know, the S3 bucket with CloudFront distribution that will serve the files from this S3 bucket to the end users, and also I need some and I want to run my backend on ECS cluster on Fargate, and it will be Docker container, and it will be that Docker container. So you're not creating the instructions that what to do. You describing what you want to achieve, and the infrastructure as code tool will convert your like blueprint of the system into the set of instructions. And yeah, the most important, the most famous tool from there is Terraform, but each cloud has their own. Also, the CloudFormation, Azure Resource Manager, Google Cloud Deployment Manager, they all works similar way. You describe in a state. And then you run that tool. It compare the actual state with the state that you describe it. Also, it have saved state of the system. So, for example, if you have the state that described is in code, you have actual state of the cloud, and you have let's say, and you have some saved state that that tool remember how cloud should be should look. So if somebody will go and add some resource or change some resource in the cloud, this tool can show the difference between these resources, and it can track the degradation of the cloud or some changes that was done manually. Yeah, so that's declarative tools. And the hybrid, yeah, you can see a lot of different strange hybrids. So hybrid tools combine both approaches. You can describe what you want to have in cloud, and you can and also but you doing it imperative way. You describing it using usual programming language. Actually, you can use your native programming language. That's why the presentation name it so. And we have, for that, we have different cloud providers, CDK, cloud development kits. For each cloud, the company that manage that cloud, for example, AWS has their own CDK, Microsoft Azure have their own CDK. So you can use these CDKs to program the cloud using your language. You can use C#, you can use TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Go, and so on. So it depends how many different CDKs these providers gives you. And we have Pulumi. Pulumi, that's also a tool that based on the normal programming languages. So unlike the Terraform, for example, the Terraform use HCL, HashiCorp cloud language that used for definition of the cloud resources. Yeah, and this is so-called domain-specific language. And that you need to learn a new language to define the infrastructure. CloudFormation use YAML and JSON. yeah, that's pretty common, pretty well known, but that's again, you need to. But for example, for cloud formation, it's very wordy, and there are a lot of you need to write tons of YAML or JSON to define just very simple things that even in Terraform it will require like it's comparing like 1,000 lines of code to the 20 lines of code. Yeah, so that's difference with this hybrid approaches that use the native languages. That here you don't need to learn the new language. Um, you can use the structures of the language. You can use the ifs, loops, and so on. Everything that you want, you can um, like the error. You can use error handling of your native language. Yeah. Uh, what so what is the Pulumi? Pulumi is infrastructure as a code tool. It's open source. It is free. Yeah, they have enterprise version. You can sign up for the account on Pulumi and use it as for the state storage. But that's not required. You can use for state storage your local machine. I will not recommend it you, but you can use for state storage the cloud that you're going to configure, and that way that I will recommend, and I will show how it works. Yeah, it supports like real programming languages, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Go, C Sharp, Java, and yeah, and it supports YAML also. You can define your resources using YAML, but that's I don't think it will works well for all use cases, because for example, one of our project, we have use case where we had multiple instances of WordPress that should run in like there are multiple sites of in this single project, and like if we will describe it in YAML, for example, or cloud formation, yeah, we will have to go and copy and paste the same code uh, in TypeScript that we used for that project. We just had the configuration, and we configuration array, and we had a loop that goes through this array and create resources in a loop without any issues. Yeah, Pulumi is multi-cloud, unlike the CDKs. Yeah, CDKs, they only for one cloud, and you cannot use AWS CDK with Azure, for example. There are some it's like I cannot say that like Pulumi is the silver bullet here, because yeah, it's multi-cloud, it's multi-language, but you cannot like describe resource once and then decide to which cloud you want to deploy it, because yeah, inside Pulumi we have libraries that also they are a bit like CDKs. You cannot use Pulumi AWS with instead of Pulumi Azure with Azure Cloud, for example. But you have all these libraries, and you can um, plug in as a models. And Pulumi is modular, and it supports the models of the language that you use. So it will be TypeScript or Python models or Java libraries. It works like native way in Pulumi. Um, of course, because that's infrastructure is code. You can use Git collaboration and versioning, and in the demo you will see it. You can organize again. You can organize your code into modules and make design of your system of the infrastructure as a code. Of that code also can be modular. You can split it on separate code for our backend, separate code for front end, separate code for different services. It's everything possible here. Yeah, and it has preview feature, and you can test. By the way, because you working with the code, you can test it. And it has preview feature out of the box. You just run it, and you can see their its results. Yeah, they what it going to set up. It shows you every time when you trying to run your code to set up some infrastructure. Yeah, that's, as I said, it's not silver bullet. There are a lot of different approaches and like to create infrastructure as a code. And like it has some flaws. First of all, comparing to the Terraform, because like it has limited adoption. The Terraform has more models already, more examples in the internet. You can find different already like pre-configured solutions, pre-built solution that you need just to add couple of configuration variables to that. And another flaw of Pulumi is documentation. The problem with it, they are very dynamic. They have, for example, one of their libraries named AWS Crosswalk. AWS Crosswalk is like it's like shortcuts for the typical architecture patterns in AWS. So you can describe for example, virtual private cloud. It's like VPN in AWS. You can describe it usual way, and it will take maybe like the couple and maybe 3 screens yeah of code, but with Crosswalk you can create it just maybe 5 lines of code, and it already configure your virtual private cloud according to the best practices, but this library not so well documented, and they upgraded it not so long time ago. They upgraded library but not updated documentation. So for example, for load balancers, I had yesterday very hard time when I'm preparing the demo because I cannot find this load balancer documentation, and I set up it just with trial and error to try and break something, then try another way. Yeah, that's the problem with Pulumi. Um, how Pulumi works, as I said, like we have a state, last deployed state, we have actual state, and we have our code. So our code, like here is index.js, for example. Yeah, we have language host is the computer that running that program for us. It can be your local machine. It can be CI/CD agent. So when you run CI/CD deploy, it will run your infrastructure as a code for you. And CLI and engine of Pulumi is where all magic happen. It compared the state with compare the last deployed state with declared state, and calculate the deltas, like create, update, delete command. Then it execute this delta using providers. There are, you can see 3 of them, but there are much more. For example, it has providers for Hetzner Cloud, for DigitalOcean, um, and like for OpenShift. So if you create your own cloud um, on the bare metal, you still can use Pulumi. Yeah, so let's now go to the some demo. Let's I wouldn't say that we will build something right now. I just will show you the like step by step the process of building really simple project. It will be in like native language in everything, almost everything in one language, from like backend, front end, and infrastructure. There was only one exception. Actually, the front end here is um, very silly and simple and a bit old school JavaScript. Everything other is the TypeScript. So I will share with you now the link. I will send it to the chat. Oops. Okay. Oh, there are a lot of questions, so I will answer them in the end. Okay, I will share the link. It is a link to our corporate GitLab. Hope I think it should be visible, and it should be public because I made this repository public. So what we're going to build? What we're going to build? We're going to build. I don't know if you ever seen the movie uh, Interstate 60. Yeah. Uh, yeah, if you ever seen the movie Interstate 60, you maybe saw this device there, this gadget. It's like Magic 8 Ball, real device produced in United States. You just shaking it, like asking some question that can be answered yes or no, and you shake it and it show you some random answer, like in uh, some a bit fancy way with this rotating triangle. Yeah, and our project will do the same, and it will contains of 2 parts. One is a static HTML, and yeah, that's like the same for me. It's jQuery based. There are no React because it's very simple. And actually, I get this code from the internet. I found it, and bit change it. So this front end just allow you to um, send your question. It will just go to the console and like shake the ball and get the random answer from the backend part, from the API. API is a bit more complex. It's Nest.js, and it will run on ECS cluster using Fargate. So it's serverless. Actually, we're just building the Docker image. We're pushing this Docker image to AWS and running this Docker container on AWS. Yeah, there are load balancer that so to get the access to this running task, we have load balancer, and like on the back end, it just gives us without even JSON, just gives us text answer that will be displayed on the front end. Everything stay behind of CloudFront distribution that gives us HTTPS and that that deliver file to the end user. And we have route 53 that's for domain name, so it will be like Magic 8 Mosiev name. So I have this domain before, and I use it for this demo. Of course, we need HTTP. As we need HTTPS, we will have certificates. One certificate should be hosted in US East 1. That's a requirement for all CloudFront distribution certificates. So to create CloudFront distribution with HTTPS, you need to create your certificate in that zone. I use it EU West 1 zone for our backend, yeah, to closer to me here in Warsaw. Yeah, that's Ireland. Yeah, I don't know. I can choose Frankfurt, but I don't know. Forgot about that. So I used EU West 1, and yeah, everything runs like the Fargate cluster runs there, and ALB certificate then should be also there. Okay, so first of all, to to run a new Pulumi project, what you will need? You will need AWS account or Azure account or whatsoever. So in this demo use AWS, so I need AWS account. I use AWS Vault for with everything that related to AWS and CLI, the console. So when I need to run any command, I just run it in some context. I will run it in context of my personal account. Yeah, and AWS Vault keeps secret the credentials from the AWS API. And I will use S3 bucket for state storage. Here is the important note that Pulumi can use multiple backends for their storage. They can, by default, they use Pulumi backend on Pulumi servers. And if you want to collaborate, if you want to work, if you have like DevOps team that works on the Pulumi project, you need to buy a subscription from Pulumi, so multiple people can use this storage. Yeah, it has some benefits because you can go to Pulumi and view the current state, and you can can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, they headphones has one flows when they don't, for them is don't matter what I'm saying. Yeah, they if but they have no like incoming sound. They decided, okay, we can go to sleep.
I
Yeah,
see.
so that, yeah, so for the storage, if you use Pulumi storage, you can like review changes, you can review history, and you can review resources on Pulumi web page. But like it has some price. I don't remember exactly which price. You can save state on your local machine, but in this case it's impossible to share. You only one person can work with this state. If a different person will check out this project and try to run, that's it will not work. There will be conflicting changes, and you you cannot just manage it. So, but fortunately, they have storage drivers, storage options for major clouds. So when I'm configuring AWS, I can use just S3 bucket for state storage. And so when I create a new project, first what I do, I will do it manually, of course. I will create the S3 bucket. So for this project, I already created S3 bucket Pulumi Georgia workshop, and you see that it already stores some state. And when I have that bucket, I have AWS account and everything configured in AWS Vault. Like AWS Vault is really optional here. You can just um, get you can view the Pulumi quick start. They're not using AWS Vault. You just set the key and secret in CLI command. You just set the environment variable with that, but it's not secure. AWS Vault more secure. So when everything is ready, then you can log in. Can you see my console, by the way?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you just go and log into your state storage. So that I created just to show what commands I run. Yeah, so I'm logged into the storage, and after that I create a new project. And by the way, I need to remember that I should run it always under my account. So I doing AWS Vault exec, no session, Pulumi new. No session is also one note regarding it. Um, uh, if you run exec no session, AWS Vault not create delegated session that is limited. For example, if you want to set up some IAM, some permissions and roles in AWS, you cannot do it in this delegated session. So that's why no session is also here. For the real projects, I will show you. For the real project, of course, it's not every time to type everything is not so handy. Yeah, so for that I have such aliases. So I created aliases with some of our projects, just AWS Vault exec no session default. So that's AWS exec my, for example. Yeah, I can use it instead of typing everything. Okay, so when I create a new project, I can show again how it looks. When I'm creating new project, there is I can select the language, and I can select the cloud, the main cloud that I want to where I'm building my infrastructure. Actually, this is just starters. So if I will select, for example, AWS native TypeScript, I can later add Azure for this TypeScript project. So the important here is important mostly the language that I select. So if I select the language, then I can set project name. Usually it get the folder name for that, some project description, and it can create a stack for me. This stack concept in Pulumi is like environments. You can think about that as about environments. So for example, development stack, the development environment, the production stack, production environment. They have their own configuration file. You can set, for example, different size of resources or different names of resources, like domain names for different environments. By default, it will create stack dev for me. Yeah, and it will ask me about the passphrase that I will use to get access to the state. So this passphrase stored encrypted, and if we have multiple DevOps, I need to share this passphrase between them if I using S3. If I using other storages, there can be different options of authentication to this state storages. Yeah. Yeah, they will set very simple. Yeah, and I can select which region my infrastructure will reside. Again, this also is not like obligatory. I mean, then when I select region, then I can switch to another region. So it created for me the project, but we will resume in another project where I already have the code, because like it's takes time to write everything. Okay, then I will switch to Pulumi workshop, and then I will Pulumi, Georgia, and I need to log out first. I'm logging out from my test Pulumi new state storage, and now I'm going to connect to another state storage in the same account. I can have multiple projects in one AWS account with different state storages, and they will not interfere. Okay, logging in. Okay, and then I will also do one maybe not very secure thing. I will export a variable with my passphrase for this demo. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Then let's go to my Visual Studio. Yeah. Yeah, I created several tags in this repository. So if you clone it, you can see it, or you can just follow switching the tags in GitLab. Yeah, and let's start. So from the very beginning, when I just, for example, let's imagine that I just run there in this project Pulumi new. Yeah, there are nothing there. Yeah, almost nothing. It create for me index type script, or in other languages there will be some different entry point, but anyway, there will be some file that is entry point for your infrastructure in the code. And I created just some common resources. In my project, I decided VPC will be common resource. Later, later I changed my mind, but doesn't matter. So, and Pulumi created a Pulumi YAML file with description of the project. Yeah, and there is a name, runtime, and some description. Also, it initiate for me because I selected TypeScript. It create for me DS config. So all infrastructure I need to just start to write code and create the resources in cloud. Yeah, and here all exports that I have is in this entry point in this index files called the outputs. So when I run this code, it will show me I want to see, for example, ID of my virtual private cloud. I want to see which subnets I created there. So, and I export them. They will be the output of my infrastructure as a code. I can see them. Okay, so let's now try to do Pulumi up. The Pulumi up is CLI command that instruct the Pulumi that we want to apply our changes. Let's go to our VPC, for example, virtual private clouds. There should be no VPC if I do everything correctly and I not forget to clean up. Yeah. So here is like default VPC for this region. There are no VPCs in account. So I'm running the AWS Vault Pulumi app. Now it's calculating the update, yeah, from what it sees in the cloud and what we have in the code. Yeah, there is some old resources it's going to delete from the previous runs. Yeah, they're not fully deleted, but will be deleted now. And now we see here preview. It shows me the previewing update, and it describe everything that I'm going to create. Oh, yeah, and I not show you the code that describe it. So here I describe I want to set up VPC. My NAT gateway strategy single. It allows to cut cost because actually the good strategy is one NAT gateway in each availability zone, but to cut cost we can have just one for entire VPC. The NAT gateway is the server that allows resources inside VPC communicate to the internet, get something from the internet. Yeah, we can actually set up it without it because we in this project we don't load in anything from the internet. Okay. And here I also create security group with the default HTTP port, and we also have the, yeah, that's web server security group. Okay, and Pulumi asked me, am I sure to going to run it? Yeah, okay, I'm sure. And now it's starting to apply these changes. It's calculated again and starting to apply. You can see that it's creating VPC, creating subnets, route tables. That's the, by the way, to create the VPC, I use it AWSX, that's cross-fault for AWS. So it allows you to create resources with the less code, and but the problem with it's not so good documented. There some parts of AWS6 documented well, but for some parts you have to work by trial and error. Yeah. It's still creating resources. We already can go and refresh our VPCs because VPC already created. I believe it now it's setting up the NAT gateway. Now, yeah, that was default VPC. You see the default VPC, yes, it was created by AWS automatically. And this is my VPC that I created. And here you can also find the security groups. Not stopped yet. Yeah. Default VPC security group. Yeah, now creating NAT gateway takes some time, I believe. Yeah, because NAT gateway, it's actually a virtual machine. Takes some time to start while pending. We're waiting. Oh, now it's available. Yeah, and it's okay. Some row table updates. Deleting some outdated resources. Okay, that's one. We created project. We created our first resources in the cloud, and it is VPC. So let's check out the step 2. Yeah, this is step 2. Here I added the code that I going to deploy to our cloud, the actual like product. Yeah, here you can see we have the front end with some simple index and jQuery. We have some backend code. Here is we have our Nest.js. There is also Docker Compose file, so I can run it locally, for example. And Docker Compose running Nginx with static, and this Nginx also have like route to the API. Yeah, everything running. I can check that everything running here. Here is our magic ball. Okay, ask something. Can we finish in time? Because I see that we just have 1 minute of my talk actually, and we need time to questions. But I hope it says it's certain. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you can see we send in these requests, and if we go to the DevTools, we can see that questions and answers here. And we can get to their network, see that it really send API requests and get responses. Yeah, I just put some strange question and it answered, cannot predict now. Okay, but it is everything is local here, so we want now to deploy it to the cloud and describe resources to deploy it to the cloud. Let's stop the Docker Compose and let's go to the next step. Let's see what changed there. There I just do some minor refactoring. I decided that I don't need common resources, and I will put my VPC to the backend, to the IaaC folder, and I like define it there. Yeah. Let's try run update, and let's see how Pulumi can handle this situation, because I moved the code to another location. Yeah, that's the same code actually, but like after some updates, yeah, it's still trying to remove my previous runs. Yeah, it's saved something in the um, in local in the state storage. Now I show how we can do like if Pulumi think that there are still something. Yeah, it says, oh, something is not empty. Aha, it cannot remove repository. Okay, we can go and help with it. Yeah, because to remove repository, it should be empty. Yeah, some with some deletions, there can be problems sometimes. Yeah, so let's delete the old repository because we will need to recreate it now. Okay. When your state file and actual state is not synchronized, you can run this one, refresh. For refresh, Pulumi inspecting the actual state in the cloud and the state file and updating it. Yeah, and now it see that uh, that content bucket was deleted from the cloud and the repository was deleted from the cloud, and it will just update it. It will not delete any actual resources now. It will just update the state. Okay, let's update the state. Yeah, and now everything okay. If I will run Pulumi up now, it should say that nothing changed, nothing to do. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. I still want to delete something. Yeah. And now? Yeah, nothing to change actually. The resources 31 unchanged. Okay. Then let's start. Let's go to the next step. Yeah. Now we are on step 3. Let's go to the step 4. What I added on step 4, I created the certificate for application load balancer, and I verified it. So what to validate the certificate, we need, if the validation method is DNS, it's most convenient if we have infrastructure as a code, because we can create record that will validate certificate. Yeah. So let's run next time Pulumi up, and let's go to the ACM, the certificate manager. We can see that nothing is here. Yeah. You can see that certificate is created for this domain name. Domain name we get from the configuration file. So the Pulumi has config, and we can say config require domain name. So if there will be no domain name in configuration, here's the project name and the variable name. So if there is no such variable, it will crash with the error. So that's why require. We can use method get. If we use get, then it will try to get variable. It will show warning that there are no such variable, and we can use, for example, here with get, we can use some default value. Okay, now it created the validation record. And we can see that certificate issued because we validated it, we created the record. Let's see, the road 53. Here is our hosted zones, and we can see that this is validation records, these names, and they are created for ECM validation. Okay. Next step. Next step. So let's create the repository. So we can create this way again with AWS AWS Crosswalk, just to reduce the amount of the code. We're creating repository and we're defining the image, and we saying to the Pulumi that that image you can take from the path. So we have our backend Docker file. Yeah, that's multi-stage Docker file, and we have production stage here. So we instruct the Pulumi that here is image, and please build the stage production, and it will automatically build and push it to our repository. We don't need to bother about how to authenticate there. Yeah, it will be done automatically because we set the repository URL here. But it will show us the warning. It says that please be careful because it will create temporary credentials to that repository locally. That's not a big deal. Here you can see it building the image. And we can go to ECR. Here is our new backend repository. Yeah, you can trust me that this is January. So that just created. Yeah. And there is no already image. Yeah, it's already done, already built, and already pushed there. So we have image of our backend. Okay, so let's deploy it now. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, to run it, we need ECS cluster. Yeah, again, with Crosswalk, we're just creating it with one line. Yeah, and we need application load balancer. This part was not really good documented, and I spent, I don't know, couple, maybe 4 hours to understand which parameters, which arguments it accept to just to redirect traffic from HTTPS port to port 3000, where our backend will run. Yeah, and here we will have listener for HTTPS only. Yeah, it will return only HTTPS. So, okay, let's go. And here, yeah, and of course, we have Fargate service. We say that this Fargate service will run inside the cluster defined above. The network configuration, it will run in private subnet. The our application load balancer is assigned to public subnet IDs, public subnets, because it should be available from the internet. Yeah, and we saying that here is the task definition, and it will use this image defined above, and it will use default target group of the application load balancer. I'm sorry, one second. I'm back. So that's step 6. Let's apply it. We see that it created the cluster. It building the image. By the way, that's one of the issues that I haven't solved yet. How to, like, anyway, it will you can see there is like using cache, but anyway, it takes some time to like create this image. So here is our ECS cluster. And by the way, while I'm changed this backend TS, I also added some outputs. So here I added output for ECR, our backend repository URL, and I added output for application load balancer, its DNS name. Now we will check that the backend is running and like providing this random answers to us. Yeah, now it's creating. So here you can see the cluster. There are no tasks because we're waiting for the load balancer to create it. And by the way, all these, like, you can see there are a lot of asynchronous stuff, and Pulumi effectively hides from us this asynchronous stuff. Like now we're waiting for application load balancer to be created, but if we go deeper there, the application load balancer ILB, this is the promise. It's not really it's like it's not real resource, so it's not executing this part of code before getting to this one, but it understands dependencies between services, and it can so it will not create our Fargate service until the ALB is not ready. So ALB is here. Let's see where it is. Yeah, here is our active ALB, but no listeners configured yet. So now it creating it. Let's see. Oh, it's all up. Yeah, here is our cluster. Let's refresh. Okay, service is running. We have one desired task, but 0 is running. Now it will start provisioning the task. Yeah, task is running. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, we have listener now. And we have target group that directs traffic to our endpoints. Let's see, we initializing our target, our Docker container. Yeah, now it is running. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, we have a healthy service. Yeah, and here we have new output is our ALB. Let's try it. It's HTTPS only because traffic should be secure. Yeah, the certificate was issued for different domain name. Yeah, that's why we see it. But our next step we will resolve it. Yeah, now it shows us this random answers. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have not so much time that I will then go through several steps, and now we have and show you just very quickly without multiple steps what we have for front end. Here we have our front end. We created there our CloudFront certificate for East region, US East 1. It required for CloudFront it can work only with such certificates. We again get our zone. Yeah, we get this from configuration. Then we created the original access identity. Our S3 bucket will be private, closed from outer world, and only CloudFront distribution can get the access, and that's done through the origin access identity. And here we created the bucket where we put all our S3 files. So here is the sync folder. We synchronize it. We should synchronize all files under the SRC. Yeah, for the real project, there will be some build folder or dist folder, yeah, that you will upload. And here is the CloudFront distribution. It says set default root object. It set origins, so that's like backends for the CloudFront. One is our bucket with the static files. Another is our application load balancer. So, and we have like default behaviors. By default, everything goes to the target origin, to the static, and we have ordered cache behavior. So with pass pattern is API, it goes to the application load balancer, to the backend. Yeah, we have our viewer certificate, we set it, some customer pages, so on, and we created the record. We will create the record to get access to this CloudFront with our domain name. Yeah, so the domain name, oh, sorry, that's distribution domain name, but we will have the domain name that we will get from the configuration, the Magic 8 Mosiev name. Okay, let's run it. Let's apply changes. You can see creating resources, it uploading files. Again, trying to build image, not trying building, but with cache. let's see. Here is our S3, and let's check our CloudFront. Yeah. So here in S3, we created the bucket with the name according to the site. Actually, not really required to have the exact name because it's not static website bucket. It's just bucket with the static files. And we created our distribution already enabled. Cool. And it has alternative domain name. So when we came to it, it will show us this site. Okay, and let's see what's going on there. Yeah, CloudFront distribution still. It's deploying. It's enabled, but it's deploying. Yeah, and that means that probably in Route 53 we don't have record yet, but let's check. Now hosted zones. No, we don't have we just have these CNAMEs. So we're waiting while deploying. Okay, I think we can try. I will try to answer some questions from chat if I can. If I can't, please, you can contact me in Facebook. Here is my profile in Facebook. The presentation will be shared. So here is my profiles in Twitter and Mastodon. So there will be links. You can use it. And yeah, let's go to the questions. I see the chat.
As for the questions, Ivan, everyone liked your design, and people liked the art things that you used in your presentation while designing. So great job.
have no time to to use it everywhere. That's why there are some just simple simple big pictures, not yeah. I had idea, actually. I had idea to use this is Peter Bregel Jr., if I'm not mistake, or senior, use for entire presentation, but I have no time
Anyways,
to
it was nice to see some art pictures in the very beginning, and it made me go and Google and see that it was Dutch art. Well, thank you. Yeah, and we do have some questions in chat.
Yeah, I see the question.
Would you like to read them by yourself?
Yeah, I will read
Go
by
ahead.
myself. Can you you can see the chat window. Oh, increase voice of the speaker. I tried. I hope it's okay. Okay. Yeah, the elder. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I have uh, question: when it can't be set, in what form do we see the error? Which kind we will see? Yeah, if we have an error, for example, we cannot create IAM role, for example, because we don't have permissions. Then Plumi will show there are actually several kinds of error. Okay, I will start from the very beginning. So first of all, if it is just a syntax error, you will see the syntax warning from your language, from compiler, yeah, from interpreter. Then if you don't have that's actually good when you defining the resources. You can see in your IDE, like if you have a type or use incorrect incorrect schema of the object. Yeah, then when everything, when you get the error during the runtime, during the creating resources, Pulumi will show some message that will, for example, it will return actually the error that it gets from the API. So it will, for example, if you cannot create some resource because of permission, you will see the text description of the error and status 403. So yeah, that's how it looks. Yeah, I had a couple of errors, by the way, when I trying to clean up resources, yeah, that left from the previous runs. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Error deleting. It shows the URN. URN is Pulumi, unified identifier for resources. So it shows the URN, like repository, backend repository, and it shows the error. This error it gets from API, AWS API. So it says it's not empty, consider using force delete. Yeah, it's also possible. Yeah, so that's how it shows the errors. Mostly that's okay, it works, and like it's understandable. Sometimes there are issues with when we have issues with types, and maybe not all errors like handled correctly inside of the library. Yeah, in this case you have hardships because you don't understand. It says, oh, I cannot redeclare class because of you use because interface is incorrect, and you don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Everything is my code is okay. I don't see any type issues, but because somewhere type was not controlled in some interface. Maybe they have object of type any, but something underlying requires certain schema, and an object that you're passing to the resource to create a resource is not according to this schema. Yeah, sometimes it becomes like you need to go and debug and go to, like in my case, in node models, so in third-party dependencies to understand what's going on. But that's pretty rare. But happen with AWS Crosswalk more often. Okay. Next question. Where it is? If I understand correctly, Pulumi yet is not good to deploy manage same project to different cloud providers. So if I assume I'm building everything on AWS, why I should use Pulumi, not CloudFront's API? Why you maybe you mixing CloudFront with CloudFormation. CloudFormation, yeah, because if you just using the API, if you're just using the API of AWS, you not have the state, and you don't have the idempotent state. Yeah, when idempotency, when you will run the same, for example, you will create the CLI script, you will run the same command, it will create another CloudFront distribution. If we are talking about cloud formation, yeah, that's way for AWS to work with it. If we work with about the cloud CDK, AWS CDK, yeah, that's also it supports idempotency it stores state, actually it stores state in cloud formation. Yeah, but I not agree that Pulumi cannot support multiple cloud projects. When you create new project, yeah, you selecting Pulumi AWS, Pulumi TypeScript AWS, or Pulumi TypeScript Azure. But you can just within PM install add Azure package to your cloud or Google Cloud, and from one code base you can manage multiple clouds. You can, of course, you will have, for example, the state storage you will have only on AWS, but you don't need actually for one project multiple state storages. The state stored in S3, then that's okay. No, nobody cares actually. You can store state in I don't know. You can store state in Pulumi cloud in their service, but and you can run different clouds and create resources on different clouds. Different between Pulumi and Amplify. Amplify, that's as I remember, if you're talking about AWS Amplify, can you unmute yourself? Laurent. Or yeah, okay. Yeah, Amplify, as I remember, it mostly like you describing. Yeah, I remember you describing your infrastructure. Again, the difference will be like between the Pulumi and AWS CDK. So, and Amplify is built on top of AWS CDK, if I'm not mistaken. As I remember, you cannot in Amplify define some Azure or Hetzner or DigitalOcean resources. Yeah, alternative. So next question: building Docker image during Pulumi app looks odd when you have many Docker images. What alternative approach could you recommend? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, in production project, we avoid it. Yeah. So production project, we define the ECR. We create the registry on AWS or anywhere. So you have your registry, you define it in IaaC code, infrastructure code. Then you push in your images from your CI/CD pipeline. So you build in images in CI/CD pipeline, pushing them, and that's separate project from infrastructure management in Pulumi. Also, another possible approach, if you want to use Pulumi as your main tool for CI/CD, you can have multiple stacks actually, and you have multiple stacks not defined, not by and split them not by environments, but also by sub-projects. Then you switch in stack and you build in the only that Docker image that you want to deploy right now. Or you can also split it by projects. You can have a small project for each of your services, small project in Pulumi, and one large project for general infrastructure things. And in this small project, you can build a Docker image like in this demo, but you will not run every Pulumi app for everything in one time. Okay, I think we are out of time and out of questions. Thank you everybody for your attention.
Yeah, thank you
And
guys.
maybe Yeah, maybe
continue on.
Maybe if somebody want to ask a question by voice or.
Well, questions.
Yeah, I have.
Go ahead.
Small
Go
comment.
ahead.
Small comment that Ivan, your common
Alex.
resources not so common. If you create a new stack environment, it will create new common resources.
Yeah, but you can define a stack with resources, and you can include these resources in other stacks, by the way. But I don't. It's usually these operations are not very fast, so I don't sure it will improve the performance of the build of the CI/CD.
Yeah, just I also wanted to share some knowledge that we on one of our project we using also Pulumi and created common resources, and yeah, as Ivan said, we had to share resources outputs between different stacks. And
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Alexei.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I guess we need to finish because we're 8 minutes late, but we are really grateful for the questions from the chat. Thank you for staying with us. I hope that this webinar, the demo that we had today, was useful, and you've got some new information that you can actually work on further. Ivan, thank you for your time. Guys, thank you again for being with us, and shortly you will receive the link to the recording, the presentation, and we will share some links to the social accounts of Ivan's and of our company as well. Okay, so have a great day, enjoy the Tuesday, and enjoy the week in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.